Hello! Today I want to talk about the great books I read in 2021. I don't do ratings, like star ratings. I just mark a book as great when I read a great book. So I have a few. I thought I'd just start. This is in random order. So let's start with The Yorkshire Shepherdess. In 2020, I read A Year in the Life of the Yorkshire Shepherdess, and this time I read the first book. So this sort of tells of her entire life. So it's more of a memoir of like her life up until the point where she wrote this book, how she got into being a shepherd or shepherdess, how she met her husband, moved to this tiny farm, started having children, the whole thing. It was really great. She's such a good writer. I have so much fun reading. Like, you never know what's going to happen, and it's great. It's such a cozy read, so I just really like this. Next one is a graphic novel, Patience and Esther by S.W. Searle something. I've talked about this before on the channel, I think. It's a sapphic love story set in the Victorian era? No, Edwardian era. And it's really good. It's really a good story, and I guess I was a little bit surprised to be reading a graphic novel with intimate scenes, but it really works. It works really well. So yeah, I really like this book. Next, The House in the Cerulean Sea, which I read in ebook form and then bought the physical because I loved it. This one is cute and cozy, and it makes you think about sort of rules you might live by, and how things aren't as rigid as you might think. There is a tiny bit of sort of white saviorism, but I think it's handled pretty well. So yeah, in general, just a cozy read, and with some good messages, really. There's magic, there are children who are so cute, and there's romance, and I really love this book. Next we have Thief of Time by Terry Pratchett. This is a Discworld novel, and yeah, it's the last in the sort of Death series. So Death and Susan and that kind of thing, those characters, and I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of convoluted, like the plot is kind of convoluted, but I found it really interesting, and the characters have to go through so much growth and realize stuff about themselves, and it's really, really good, and I really enjoyed it. Next we have The Galaxy and the Ground Within by Becky Chambers. This one is the last one in the Wayfarers series by Becky Chambers, and it's it's the first one of her books that doesn't include any humans, which I guess if this was the first book you're reading by her, that would be maybe a little jarring, but you've met most of these species in previous books if you've read her previous books. So I wasn't surprised, really, and things are introduced in a good way, like she always does. It's as much of a human drama, or like a person drama, as you would expect from Becky Chambers. Like it's not as much about external forces affecting and like creating drama. It's much more about internal things, like between people, relationships. The basic plot is that these people who are supposed to be in a place for only a few hours maybe get stuck, which is like a typical, I guess, position for drama to happen. And it's really interesting, and each of the characters have to deal with their past and their relationships to these people and to people in their past, and it's just really great. Next, let's see if I can do this without everything toppling. Next, we have the Tea Dragon series. So this is the first one, the Tea Dragon Society, and then the Tea Dragon Festival, and the Tea Dragon Tapestry. They're all really cute books. I think meant for quite young, like 7 and up, I think. But I really enjoyed them. They're a bit like, there's a bit of growing up that's going on. There's a bit of like learning about the world and themselves that's going on. And not the least, taking care of really, really cute tea dragons. Oh my god, that's so cute. So yeah, I highly recommend these books. They're not necessarily, like, they slightly build on each other. I felt quite kind of out of the loop for number 2. It felt sort of very different, but then in number 3 all the like characters from all the books meet, and you sort of understand how it ties together. I really recommend these books. They're really, really good. What? Disaster! Oh no. Okay. Next, we go on to the ones that I still only have on my Kindle. I am planning on buying some of these because, of course, I like to have my favorite books on my shelf. So I guess we just go for Prisoner of Love by Beverly Jenkins. I think I've talked about this on the channel before. It's an arranged marriage trope set in the sort of Old West. It's just really cute. It's fast. I reread it once since I read it the first time. It's just a great afternoon, especially for me, who I like the tropes in it, of like not only the arranged marriage but also the discovery that the main character does of her sexuality, which and her like sexual pleasure, which is really great to read about. I really enjoy reading about people finding pleasure in sex. Yeah, this is with sex scenes, like graphic sex scenes in here. Next on my Kindle, we can do another one that has sex scenes. Hunger Pangs, True Love Bites by Joy Demora. She actually has 2 editions out. One is this one, which is called Flirting with Fangs edition, which has all the sort of explicit sex scenes and everything. And then there's a Fluff with Fangs, or Fluff and Fangs edition, which fades to black for all the sex scenes. I really enjoyed this version, but then again, I enjoy romance with with sex scenes. So yeah, so in case, like, if this might interest you, you can get it without the sex scenes if you don't like those. So this is a shifter and vampire novel, which also deals with, let's see, there's so many things in this book, but it deals with like old magic and saving the world, as well as like vampires and werewolves and politics in a sort of Regency-ish, Britain-ish. It's all fantasy, but like I can see where she gets her inspiration. I really like this. The communication is great between people, between the characters. It's just really good. Yeah, so it deals with a men loving men plot as well as a polycule plot. So yeah, just so you know, I just really like it. All the characters are so good. And she actually, like, if I'm going to think of an author I might like follow in the future, I might go for Joy DeMora. I will follow her in the future, so like a new favorite author, as well as Beverly Jenkins. I think I'll read more by Beverly Jenkins. And the last one on my Kindle is a non-fiction, actually, and I seldom read non-fiction on my Kindle, or read non-fiction anyway. This is Horses and Company by Lucy Rees. It's a book about horse behavior, basically, and it really is the book about horse behavior that I wish existed when I was at my most interested in horse behavior back in 2010 and 11 and 12. So when I started, like when I went to the Caribbean, I worked with horses there, and then I started biology and learned about like behavior studies. I would have loved to read this book. I loved reading it now as well. She writes very accessibly, and she ties everything, like she ties most of the things to modern ways of working with horses, like horses and humans. It just made me think of horses in a different light, and I really appreciate that. And it just feels like I have much more of an understanding of how horses work, and I find horses really fascinating, so that was really fun to read. I think I want to buy this in physical form because it also has pictures and figures and stuff, and it's just not as good in black and white. Especially when you're talking about horses and you're like, yeah, look at the roan horse there and the brown horse there, and I'm like, yeah, well, they're all grey. So yeah, I think I'll probably invest in this one in the physical form. The last one is actually a book that I borrowed from the library, and haven't bought in any capacity actually. It's a book called Mooncakes by Suzanne Walker. It is really cute and sort of growing up and finding out of love and stuff, as well as some witchery and some shifter things, and and women loving other women, and it's just really cute. And I'm still not sure if I want to buy it or anything, but it was just really cute. It was one of the best books I read last year. They had to work together to figure out a thing. In the process of working together with supportive adults in the background, they realized their feelings for each other, and it was just really cute. So now I wanted to talk a little bit about my book plans for 2022. it's mostly a continuation of previous years. Last year I actually reached 0 TBR in August. That felt great. I didn't actually make, like, I didn't know how to do it if I was going to do a celebration video, because I know that it's not many people's goal to have 0 books that they own that are unread, and I didn't want anyone to feel like I was dunking on their desire for having a big TBR. So, but for me, this was a great milestone. I love not having the pressure of a big backlog, so to speak, of books to read. Currently, I have 2 unread books that I haven't started. So, and that's just from gifts, really. Otherwise, I buy books as I'm going to read them, especially ebooks. Ebooks and audiobooks, I buy, like, I want to read this, okay, let's buy it now, and then start listening, start reading. So that's working well. I've been doing that for a while. Physical books, it's a little bit harder. I don't have access to a bookshop that stocks books that I necessarily want to read. The closest bookshop is an hour away, and the English section is quite small, and doesn't really. I had a look in it last week, and there's not much that I want to read. So yeah, I will either keep buying books that, like, mostly buy books that I've already read from, like, ebooks or audiobooks or from the library, or I will say, like, okay, I know I will love this book, so I will buy it, or like pre-order or something, buy it online, and it will arrive, and I will probably not read it right away, but like soon-ish. So that's the plan. Let's see on my notes. Oh yeah, last time I did a video like this, I had wrapped 12 books in wrapping paper and was going to read one of them every month. Like, I had a designated book for each month. That didn't work. It didn't work at all. I think I abandoned it in May, but that was only because I was stubborn. I could have abandoned it in February. It did not work. And most of the books that I've wrapped, I didn't really want to read. So, like, no, it just didn't work. Most of the books got unhauled. A few of them I read and DNF'd, like early or late. And I think a few of them I finished, like 2 or 3, not 12. But yeah, that didn't work, but what can you say? I'm a mood reader, so I'm not surprised. The other goal I had was to buy a few books and buy them, like, as I needed, a little bit like my philosophy now, and that worked. I bought 11 books, or, like, I think I got 11 books total. So that's well within what my, like, restrictions were, and I think I'm going to try to keep to about that this year as well. My new goal for this year is to borrow more books from the library. Now that I sort of feel free from my TBR, I'm going to use the function that we have in Norway that lets you borrow books from other libraries than your own. So the library can, like, the interlibrary loans. And we have, like, a database where I can search and find books from everywhere in the country and order them. So it's not much hassle even. So it's, yeah, so I'm going to use that to my full advantage. and my aim is to read or try to read at least one library book a month. So far I'm doing great. I've read 2, so yay. So yeah, I think that's it for this sort of wrap up of the best books I read in 2021. I don't know when I'll be back with more book content. Maybe soon, maybe not, and we'll see. But until then, I will see you next time. Bye!